shit. Oda, you motherfucker. Oh, man. Damn. One Piece chapter 726, man. Oda's a motherfucker for this. Oh, man. So, Toy Soldier, right? Toy Soldier is Rebecca's father. Oh, man. And see, it's obvious when you go back to the flashback, you see how compassionate he was and how he looked after her and how, he was kind of teaching her how to fight, because like at a certain point, as a parent, you do want your child to defend themselves. But man, oh man, this is big. This is big, man. This is big. I mean, it's the melodrama aspect of it. It makes a lot of sense to kind of go this route. But at the same time, whoo, that's huge, man. That's huge for Oda to go this far. That's huge because you got members of the royal bloodline, the true royal bloodline, still alive. Because Rebecca's family, we find out that her grandfather was that mysterious warrior with the helmet. All the toys are bowing to him. Various soldiers are bowing to him. And you're learning more and more about what happened in Dressrosa at the time. And then you find out, the reason why the Thunder Soldier was even around Rebecca's mother, that's because that was his wife. Oh man, that is so heartbreaking, man. That's so heartbreaking. I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine that, man. You lose the woman that you are in love with, and then you gotta protect your child, and your child doesn't even know who you are. Ooh, that's heartbreaking. That's some heartbreaking shit, dude. Oda sure as hell knows how to go for heartstrings. That's all I can say. He sure as hell knows how to go for heartstrings, man. Got some cold-blooded shit right there, man. That's cold, and I love it. I know you guys are going to be like, oh my God, you said all that at that long-ass intro just to say you love it, man. But, I mean, that's the thing, though, right? That's the thing. You can hear it in my voice. The thing about this story that is so incredible to me is the fact that even with the moments like this and the little reveals and stuff, when they happen, you start connecting the dots saying, oh shit, so that's what that was. And it's just so exciting. It's kind of like every time you read a One Piece chapter and you get to chapters like this, on one hand, there was no action. There was no action. I said in the last review, I want to see more Rebecca action. But her character was built up. And a lot of people get it mixed up. This is something that, I remember seeing this a lot with Naruto when Naruto's running and Bleach when Bleach was running. I go on, different reviews. So for Naruto, Sawyer 7 Mage and for Neverworld and King of Lightning. And then with Bleach, with the... James Hansen, Chibi Reviews, for Neverworld, King of Lightning... I respect all those dudes, but there are a few times, some of them, I'm not going to say names because I don't believe in, that's the right word for this. I don't believe in bashing other content creators. I really don't believe in that, but, I will say that there are a few times where, some of those guys were, and I'm going to say this much, it wasn't Sawyer. I'm going to say that. I will say that because Sawyer reviews shit from more of a craft perspective more than anything else. I mean, if I would say I had somebody who I look at and look for ways to improve, I'd say Sawyer and King of Lightning. So I'm going to say it wasn't those two. I will say that much. But, there were times when chapters came out for those two series where one of those guys would, point something out and they'd be like, I just don't see the character development. It didn't happen. I'm going, no, you can develop a character through character interactions and how other people perceive them. That's an integral part of writing. It isn't just necessarily how the reader sees the character through the actions and through their own words, but how other people speak about them, how other people react to them, how other people view them. That's character development as well. It's a two-sided issue with it. And that's what Oda did here with Rebecca. And that's something I respect. That's something I respect the hell out of because it takes balls to take this approach, especially when we know that she's fighting. And this goes back to something I've said for a very long time. When it comes to writing, sometimes there's a time to show and there's a time to tell. And sometimes it's better to not let the viewer, or in this case, the reader, see the knockdown, drag out fight that Rebecca's going through. Sometimes it's better to just tease, let us see a little bit of the action, and then you get all this information you get here, and it makes you care for the character more. It really makes you care for the character more. Like let's say the anime does this, anime just adds like a shit ton of filler, right? And you can't even call it filler because it'd be like extension. It'd be an extension of whatever's going on. It'd just be an extension. Like we know that it happened, we're just actually seeing it take place. And that's like what Fairy Tail did, like in the Grand Magic games. Like Fairy Tail added a whole bunch of fights and extended a bunch of fights that the manga didn't even show. And so if the anime does this, then I mean, I can kind of get it, but I think it would cheapen the payoff that Oda's doing, because essentially what you're getting right here is you're getting that moment where everything's happening on screen. So when you see Rebecca and she's, out of breath or something, you know how hard she's been fighting. And the fact that the Thunder Soldier says, like, yeah, after years of running, she was finally caught by Doflamingo and she's put in that arena as embarrassment. It's just like, wow, day in and day out, she's having to fight for her survival. And then she's also having to fight for her dignity, and she's fighting for the honor behind her family name. And the fact that her family actually had the best interest in mind for the people of this kingdom, and yet she's hated. She has to bear a scarlet letter that isn't deserved. I mean, there's just so much literature stuff in play right here. It's just so much. Like this is an arc I can't wait to go back to and just break down all the stuff in there. Because I mean, you got stuff like the reparations and that stuff that, like there's been talks, for a long time that the U.S. government was going to do that with descendants of slaves and with Native Americans and everything. And I mean, I can say that, man. I can say, some people did follow through with the 40 acres and the mule type thing and everything. I mean, that happened with my family. Like, after, I want to say it was like 1860, somewhere around there. Like, what ended up happening was 1860, 1870, somewhere in that time period. What ended up happening was the guy who has my last name. So one of my ancestors, no shit, right? Well, one of my ancestors ended up breaking up over 80 acres. It's supposed to be 40 acres, but he ended up breaking up 80 acres of land between all his children as well as the slaves that he had. And he broke all that up, and what ended up happening over time is like my part of the family ended up acquiring more and more of that land. But, that's just how stuff happened back then. Unfortunately, you did have, slave masters and people who were, even after the slaves were freed and everything, you had, relationships that were going on that were non-consensual, and you just had a situation like this where, the person actually did right. So, I mean, I said to say that's a very controversial topic, but what I really like about Oda is that in the New World, he's gone completely after a lot of the issues that are taboo. And like what I like is like he's touched on class issues, he's touched on racism, he's touched on government, he's touched on power, he's touched on reparations now, he's touched on slavery, he's touched on so much extra shit. And I don't know if maybe Ace's death and everything that happened was supposed to be Luffy realizing that the world isn't all sunshine and rainbows, and that there's more to everything than just life being a big ass adventure, that there's real consequences. But the tone's shifted. And if people started gravitating away from One Piece at this point, I can understand why. Because when you start talking about situations like this and topics like this, and it's like arc after arc after arc after arc, where you got like the references to the dark web and child experimentation and all these other things that are going on, I get it. That's stuff that makes people uncomfortable. But, one of the things that I really like about Oda is the fact that, Oda is at the end of everything. I've said this before, you guys know this, like especially if you're a longtime viewer, that I'm one of those people. I always say that like Oda could probably write a really good novel, like maybe not sentences and everything, but if he got somebody who was really skilled at writing and Oda said, here's the plot, here's a detailed outline, this is my vision, bring it to life, that should be fucking awesome. Because there's a certain skill with putting words on paper. There's a certain skill. I can't really explain it to you. I would highly recommend reading a book called How to Write a Sentence for you to kind of understand what I mean by that. Because, just like even the ways you present the sentences on page, the way that you use the commas, the vowel sounds, all everything goes into making a good sentence, and it changes the impact of what you're actually reading. But at the same time, there's an art to being able to draw a manga, to visually draw everything and capture those emotions, and then control the narrative with both words and with the art. I mean, that's beautiful. And what Oda's done with this stuff in the New World is Oda's touched on the taboo stuff, and he's walked the line just enough to make you feel uncomfortable, and yet at the same time just enough for you to understand his worldview. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. He's done a better job of doing that than what Kishimoto did, because Kishimoto had a tendency to get too preachy, and it fucking pissed me off. Oda hasn't reached that point yet. So I mean, I like that. I like that a lot. And I like the fact that, as like the little dwarves, fairies are talking and explaining everything, who's right there to hear all this shit? Nico fucking Robin. That goes back with the poneglyphs and everything in the void period. Like, she's gonna be like that linchpin that is gonna put Luffy smack dab in the middle of the war with the Revolutionary Army and the world government. She's gonna be a linchpin, because whatever the fuck that she has to do for Dragon, and she's got a role in there because Dragon was interested in her, and she was part of that dude's crew. She was from O'Hare, the island that got Buster called and everything. Aokiji saved her for a fucking purpose. Like, Luffy's the type, if something happens to a member of his crew, he's like, fuck it, I'm getting everybody back. So, I mean, this is just Oda setting up more stuff. Like, in the short term, it was setting up, Rebecca and, further selling her and putting her over. But at the same time, in a very subtle way, you're getting a setup for Nico Robin. So, I mean, this is going to be interesting to see where this kind of goes from here. But, I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you think about the fact that these toys are actually former gladiators and soldiers, because we do see the one scene where the guy gets the snot and everything, and he ends up turning one of the gladiators into a toy soldier, and he's just walking around. He's got the symbols and everything. I mean, I want to know what you guys think about that, but most importantly, I want to know what you guys think about just the revelation that you have members of Rebecca's family alive, and like the fall from grace that has been experienced. I want to know what you guys think. I'm very interested to read those comments down below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.